it's Lisa of Juno Compost. Just wanted to talk about chives and walking onions a little bit. These are walking onions, and this is the fall time, and this is actually new growth that has just come up. But so walking onions are one of the first things to come up in the spring, and you can eat the green parts just like you would scallions or chives. And they just keep growing all summer, and you can keep snipping them and eating them. And then in the fall time, they'll start to turn yellow, and they will get you might call it a seed head. It's not really a seed head. It's like a bulbil, kind of like a garlic bulb. And they'll get really heavy on top. They'll grow really big. And then they'll get heavy, and then they'll fall over and land on the soil, and then they'll re-root, and you can let them just root where they land, or you can harvest them and move them elsewhere. And so here you can see one I left, but most of the ones I just cut these off about a week ago and harvested all the tops, and then I'm bringing them to a new bed and planting a whole bed of these somewhere else. And so you can eat these from early spring to late fall. Like I said, this is all new growth that has just come up in the last week or two. And they love being in pots. They love being in the ground either way. I found that this is the one big pot I have, and I bring it into the greenhouse so it's covered over the winter, and it does come up a lot earlier in the spring, several weeks earlier in the spring than the ones outside do. So I like to have both. And then let's talk about chives. Okay, so here's some chives. I apologize for them looking a little ratty. It's been a pretty bad fall. But this plant right here is probably about 8 inches in diameter, and it was divided off of a different plant last fall, and I maybe started out with a chunk that would have fit in a 4-inch pot. Well, except the roots were deeper, and so they wouldn't fit into the pot, but that's about the diameter of what I put here. And then it just loves all that extra space, really filled out. And then I cut on this, let it grow to be a foot tall, cut it down to several inches, and I did that probably 4 times over the course of the summer and used it to make all my salsa. And they love it. And so I actually had 4 clumps earlier, and then I just harvested these 2 clumps that were right here into a bunch of smaller pieces, so that I'm basically quadrupling one plant over the course of 2 years. And so I'll show you what they look like now. Okay, so here is what I divided that one plant into, and so I just put this in here yesterday. So I just used a shovel to break it into smaller chunks, pull them across, and then what I usually do, but I didn't because it was getting dark when I did this, is when I transplant them, then I'll cut them down. So right there would be a good place to cut, and then that's going to promote some root growth and green growth as well. But it'll help the plant get settled in during the fall here. And then when spring comes, this will be, they're going to really expand and fill in most of this area just in the spring and over the course of next summer, and potentially divide them again. And you can actually see, so this is, I just planted this new apple tree yesterday, and I'm starting to fill it in with other plants. But this is one that I did maybe 2 months ago or 3 months ago now, and it was pretty sparse at first, but it's filled in, and it has oregano, and it has chives, it has walking onions, and then it also has some different flowers, primroses and columbine and stuff. But basically, this was really sparse with small plants 2 months ago, and then you can see this area that is sparse. That's because I just divided everything that grew here over the course of the 2 months, because these are all crops that grow really well in the rain, and even though we had a dismal summer, they really thrived. And so I was able to divide them in the spring and in the fall. So yay for perennials is kind of what I say. And yeah, growing things in mounds with lots of different plants mixed together is kind of how I like to do it. Okay, hope you think about growing chives and walking onions.